Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm Ling Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's stories. Authorities say the suspect responsible for the Northern California shooting was an employee at a farm. The 7 dead were believed to be his co-workers. The Department of Justice is suing Google over alleged antitrust violations. The lawsuit claims the tech giant has not been transparent regarding its ad revenue distribution. Oakland's police chief has been put on administrative leave. This comes amid a new report that found the chief failed to discipline a sergeant during an internal investigation. Another deadly shooting, this time in Northern California. Authorities describe the suspect to be a disgruntled employee who left 7 people dead and 1 wounded. The attacks took place at 2 locations in Half Moon Bay.
A suspect was arrested on Monday after 7 people were killed in 2 related shootings at 2 mushroom farms in Half Moon Bay. Officers arrested 67-year-old Chun-Li Zhao in connection with the shooting after he was found in his car outside the city's sheriff's station. San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus said Tuesday that Zhao is a resident of Half Moon Bay and was an employee at Mountain Mushroom Farm.
The semi-automatic handgun was legally purchased and owned. The victim at the hospital is out of surgery and stable. Victims were adults and a mixture of Hispanic and Asian.
Authorities found 4 people dead and a 5th injured from gunshot wounds at 1 location. Several miles away, they found 3 others also deceased. Some workers at one facility lived on the premises and say children may have witnessed the shooting. Corpus says the only known connection between the shooter and his victims is that, quote, they may have been coworkers.
So as far as his criminal history, we're not releasing that information. I will say that there were no specific indicators that would have led us to believe that he was capable of something like this.
The coroner's office is working to identify the victims. Zhao is expected to be arraigned in Redwood City on Wednesday. The shooting was the nation's 6th mass shooting this year and followed the killing of 11 people late Saturday at a ballroom dance hall in Southern California.
And more updates on the deadly shooting in Los Angeles County. Monterey Park locals held a vigil to remember the victims who lost their lives over the weekend. A 26-year-old man who wrestled with the shooter also says to support those impacted by the tragedy.
A community candlelight vigil was held at Monterey Park City Hall on Monday night to honor the victims of the worst mass shooting in Los Angeles County history. It left 11 people dead and 9 others wounded. Investigators searching for a motive said 72-year-old Hu Can Tran was previously arrested for illegally owning a firearm, having a rifle at home, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and appeared to be manufacturing gun silencers. 26-year-old Brandon Say, who tackled the shooter at a ballroom dance hall on Sunday, said he doesn't want to focus on himself, but give the attention to those affected by the attack.
I really don't want to comment on myself right now. Right now I want to make this about people that were injured in this incident and people who were unfortunately taken away from us. They're currently inside medical care right now, fighting for their lives, and I think they should have the support of the people.
Tran fired 42 rounds at Star Ballroom Dance Studio. He then drove to another nearby dance hall where Brandon, who works at the establishment started by his grandparents, wrestled a modified submachine gun-style semi-automatic weapon away from Tran. Brandon's father, Tom, said he was proud of his son.
I'm very proud. You know, I've always told him that if there's any people robbing the place or whatever, just give them the money. But a life versus money, money's nothing. But I guess this is a different situation. I never prepared him for that because he wasn't there for money, so I never prepared him for that kind of situation.
The 11 victims have been identified, and their ages range between 62 to 72 years of age. 6 were female and 5 were male. Brandon said he is focusing on recovering his mental health after the incident and wishing the families of the victims well.
The U.S. Justice Department has sued Alphabet's Google on Tuesday for its dominance in the digital advertising business. The department has said the federal government is trying to level the playing field for rivals to big tech companies.
The U.S. Justice Department sued Alphabet's Google on January 24th, accusing the company of abusing its dominance in the digital advertising business. In the government's latest jab at thwarting big tech's market power, the department said Google should be forced to sell its ad manager suite.
Today, the Department of Justice, joined by 8 states, filed a civil antitrust lawsuit in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia against Google. We alleged that Google has used anti-competitive, exclusionary, and unlawful conduct to eliminate or severely diminish any threat to its dominance over digital advertising technologies. These technologies, which are known as ad tech, automate advertising sales by website publishers to online advertisers. As alleged in our complaint, for 15 years, Google has pursued a course of anti-competitive conduct that has allowed it to halt the rise of rival technologies, manipulate auction mechanics to insulate itself from competition, and force advertisers and publishers to use its tools.
8 states, including Google's home state of California, joined the lawsuit. According to the lawsuit, Google's automated advertising accounts for 80% of its revenue. The Justice Department asked the court to compel Google to break up its ad technology business.
Our complaint alleges that Google has violated Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act by monopolizing the market for the technology used by publishers to offer ads on their websites. And finally, we allege that the United States, as an advertiser, has incurred damages by reason of Google's violations of the antitrust laws. In addition to the declaratory relief, our complaint seeks damages and the divestiture of certain Google ad tech products. It also seeks an injunction preventing Google from continuing to engage in the anti-competitive practices described in the complaint.
Tuesday's lawsuit by the Biden administration follows a 2020 antitrust lawsuit brought against Google under Donald Trump's administration. The 2020 lawsuit alleged violations of antitrust law in how the company acquires or maintains its monopoly in online searches. That case is scheduled to go to trial in September. In addition to its well-known search, which is free, Google makes revenue through its interlocking ad tech businesses. It connects advertisers with newspapers, websites, and other firms looking to host them. Advertisers and website publishers have complained that Google has not been transparent about where ad dollars go, specifically how much goes to publishers and how much to Google. Over the years, the company made a series of purchases, including DoubleClick in 2008 and AdMob in 2009, to help make it a dominant player in online advertising.
A new California law will expand the eligibility requirements for peace officers. As of January 1st, the law will allow non-U.S. citizens to apply.
A new law is changing the eligibility requirements for peace officers. According to the past law, applicants would have to be a citizen of the United States or be a permanent resident who is eligible for and has applied for citizenship. But now, Senate Bill 960 expands eligibility to non-U.S. citizens. The law, authored by Democratic State Senator Nancy Skinner and signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom, took effect on January 1st. Under the new law, quote, applicants would instead require peace officers be legally authorized to work in the United States. This means anyone who has a proper green card or visa would be eligible to apply. Many opposition groups say the new requirement is lowering the standards for eligibility. Sergeant Jared Wilson, speaking as president on behalf of the San Diego Peace Officers Association, told KFMB the San Diego Police Department has lost over 500 officers since July of 2020. That's drastic. We need everyone we can to be able to be a police officer. However, we are not in favor of reducing the requirements and lowering the standards. But Skinner says that the new law does not apply to undocumented workers. She says, quote, almost every other profession only requires legal work authorization, and that, quote, you could be an officer in the military and you could not be a peace officer in California. So that's why we felt it was totally right to fix the rule.
The Oakland police chief has been placed on administrative leave. This comes just days after a new report found the police chief failed to discipline a sergeant following an investigation. But all this comes just as the Oakland Police Department, like others across the state, struggle with increased staffing shortages.
Oakland Police Chief LaRon Armstrong issued a statement on Monday saying he deserves to be reinstated immediately by the city of Oakland. Armstrong was put on paid administrative leave on January 19th. This comes after a 16-page report conducted by the law firm Clarence Dyer & Conan revealed that Armstrong failed to hold a sergeant accountable after ripping a neighbor's car bumper off in a hit-and-run in 2021. The same sergeant also fired his gun in an elevator at police headquarters the following year. The law firm said Armstrong failed to appropriately discipline the sergeant or the superiors who downplayed the incidents, pointing to a poor internal affairs process. The firm, which was hired by the city to investigate the department, said Armstrong violated department rules and, quote, some of the deficits appear to stem from a failure of leadership and a lack of commitment to hold members of the Oakland Police Department accountable for violations of its own rules. Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao and City Administrator Ed Riskin confirmed the decision in a statement, saying, the decision was not taken lightly, but we believe it is critical for the safety of our community that we build trust and confidence between the department and the public. We must have transparency and accountability to move forward as a safer and stronger Oakland. This is unprecedented in Oakland, as previous police chiefs have simply been fired. The report was made public last Wednesday in the U.S. District Court. It's related to the ongoing federal oversight of the Oakland Police Department to ensure that reforms would take place. The next federal court oversight hearing is scheduled for January 24th.
We are going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we got for you when we come back. A new state law is banning certain old diesel trucks. The rule is a part of the state's aggressive plan to reduce emissions and boost electric vehicles. Hollywood is known to be a leader in economic and cultural influence, but the movie industry market value lost hundreds of billions of dollars last year. And the rare snowy owl that visited Southern California appears to have moved on. Wildlife experts are still keeping an eye out for more potential sightings. That and more on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, Ling Zhang. Starting this year, older diesel trucks may be unable to operate on California roads. That's unless they meet certain rules first. That's all due to a new law that went into effect this year.
A 2008 rule banning certain diesel trucks went into effect on January 1st of this year. The law states a diesel vehicle weighing more than 14,000 pounds with an engine built before 2010 will be banned from California roads. The new rules are part of the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, with a goal to set emission regulations. CARB says diesel exhaust is responsible for 70% of emissions, and the regulation will help in reducing this toxic air. According to the San Francisco Gate, the 2008 rule is expected to affect around 200,000 trucks and buses, in addition to 70,000 big rigs. But there are exceptions, and these include engines that are replaced with ones from after the 2010 model year, and if a vehicle travels fewer than 1,000 miles per year. To enforce this, California's DMV will deny new registrations to vehicles that are non-compliant. CARB will also audit fleets and will issue fines accordingly. All this is part of California's tough stand on reducing emissions and pushing for electric vehicles.
After recent flooding hit California, experts warned that water-damaged cars could be quite unsafe, even if they don't appear so on the surface. And many of these cars could soon come to the used car market.
Recent storms in California caused widespread damages, including to people's personal cars. Experts say these flood-damaged vehicles may soon hit the used car market. Ivan Drury, director of Insights for Edmunds, said that the cars with water damage could be quite unsafe, even if they don't appear so on the surface. Drury suggested the buyers check if there is a, quote, gross musty smell, which could be a big red flag. Jack Gillis, chairman of the board of directors for the nonprofit Center for Auto Safety, told KOMO News, quote, it's very easy for a professional to clean up a vehicle and make it look new when, in fact, the electronics and computers are in really bad shape. According to the Insurance Information Institute, some flood-damaged cars are issued a salvage title, which can alert people and companies of possible damage. But the Institute warned that dishonest dealers may not disclose damages on the vehicle's title. The vehicles are then sold with the hidden damage. Emily Voss, a Carfax spokeswoman, said in a statement last year following Hurricane Ian's aftermath, quote, we are seeing these flooded cars show up all around the country, putting unsuspecting buyers at risk. Since late December, California has been hit by 9 atmospheric rivers, but forecasters say that much of the state will see a dry period for the time being.
Last week, a former Los Angeles City Councilman pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges. The charges stemmed from his role in a City Hall-based bribery and money laundering scheme. Last Friday, a former Los Angeles City Councilman, Jose Hueza, pleaded guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, and tax evasion charges. The 2 federal charges are for his role in a City Hall-based bribery and money laundering scheme. As part of the scheme, he took more than $1.5 million in cash, gambling trips, and escorts in exchange for his support of a planned downtown hotel project. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the plea agreement was filed in a Los Angeles federal court on Thursday. The councilman agreed to a prison sentence of no less than 9 years. But prosecutors said they will request a 13-year term in federal prison. Hueza will also be ordered to pay restitution of about $1.85 million. According to a 42-page factual basis for his plea, Hueza, as an elected member of the city council, led a criminal enterprise and used his position at City Hall to enrich himself and his associates. The plea agreement also stated that Hueza unlawfully gave favorable treatment to developers who financed and facilitated bribes and other illicit financial benefits. Hueza's co-defendant, former Deputy Mayor Raymond Chang, is scheduled to go on trial next month on charges of conspiracy to violate a Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, or RICO Act. U.S. District Judge John Walter scheduled a sentencing hearing for April 3rd. In 2022, Hollywood studios lost over $500 billion in market value. The American movie industry, which once dominated the globe, is facing tough times ahead.
Hollywood studios lost billions of dollars in market value last year. The Financial Times reported last month a 40% loss for 2022, with its total market value tumbling from $1.35 trillion to $808 billion. That's according to the Dow Jones Media Titans Index, which tracks performances of the world's top 30 media companies. Entertainment losses last year surpassed those in other sectors, such as banking, which saw a 14.5% drop, and telecommunications, which witnessed an 11.2% decline in revenue. Major studios, streaming services, cable providers, broadcasters, and other media groups lost a combined $542 billion in market value. Woke politics and entertainment and artistic interference from foreign regimes like Communist China have taken a toll on viewership, creativity, and finances. Many investors have pulled out of the once booming streaming service market, leading to a slowdown in advertising and increasing subscriber cancellations. Increasing competition and rising costs combined with inflation are also taking a toll on consumer spending. High inflation and economic uncertainty have taken a toll on American household budgets, with the price of essential items such as food and energy increasing. The Financial Times reported that Netflix saw an unprecedented 2 consecutive quarters of subscriber losses this year. This led the company to slash its workforce, with its stock falling down 52% by December. Legacy Entertainment, Paramount Global, Warner Brothers Discovery, and Walt Disney have also fared quite poorly across the board.
As work continues on the world's largest wildlife corridor in Los Angeles County, a recent study found that some wildlife may be fearful of using the bridges.
According to a December UCLA study, certain species of animals like deer and elk may be afraid of using wildlife crossings. The study found animals felt afraid of vehicle sounds and bright headlights. They believe the focus should be on reducing such stimuli. The study suggests one solution is to build walls that dampen the sound or dim headlights so as to encourage those animals to feel safe when using the structures. In a statement, a co-author and professor of the study said, "It's only through studies like this that focus on how animals perceive and react to the stimuli in their environment, which can either attract them or repel them, that we'll gain the necessary insights to develop effective wildlife crossings." This comes as work is still ongoing for the Wallace-Annenberg Wildlife Crossing. The intention is to allow wildlife to cross freely over the 101 freeway to reduce deaths or accidents. The project was founded by public and private donations totaling about $88 million. One of the mascots is the mountain lion P22. Before he was euthanized, the well-known cat was documented to have experienced numerous injuries from being hit by vehicles. P22 demonstrated the need for such crossings in high-traffic cities with wildlife neighbors.
The snowy owl that visited Orange County's city of Cypress has caused quite a stir among residents, bird enthusiasts, and wildlife experts. While locals speculate the owl may have moved on from the city, experts are hoping to use the rare sighting to raise awareness of the owl conservation needs.
After a snowy owl unexpectedly showed up in a short stretch of Cypress suburbs last month, locals now speculate the bird may have moved on earlier this week. Locals say they haven't seen the bird since Monday, so officials from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife are monitoring the area for new owl sightings. Community members remain hopeful for another sighting as well. Cypress resident Roy Roche created a Facebook page for the bird titled The Cypress Snowy Owl, which now has over 2,000 members. Locals can submit their photos of the bird to the page. According to the State Department of Fish and Wildlife officials, the rare bird is suspected to be female and originate from the Arctic tundra. The owl, nicknamed Snowy by multiple media outlets, had been seen perching on various houses in a small Cypress neighborhood. During the day, residents reported seeing the bird on various rooftops and chimneys. Owl and wildlife researchers hope to educate the public about conservation needs for birds like Snowy, who made her way to Cypress, as well as how such birds will coexist with humans in an ever-changing environment.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with the friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm Ling Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.